8 balls in the pit.
Biscuits in bed.
Roger that. Ghost 1, stand by for backup check in 30 seconds on backup 1. Ghost 1, check in on backup 1.
Ghost 1, 2.
Ghost 1, 3.
Roger that, Ghost 1 cleared to start up, and I'll see you on upfront Victor 1-5 in approximately 5 minutes. Ghost 1, check in on Victor 15.
2.
3.
Roger, continue start up, standby words on weather. Ghost 1, we have information Bravo here at Gunsan, the pressure setting at 1017. We're at runway 36 for visual departure and the wind is at 060, averaging 4 knots, gusting 6, visibility is 10 kilometres or more, no significant cloud, temperature is plus 19 degrees.
Sunrise.
Send it.
Should not be on Victor 16.
Negative. So we are the first flight in the package, therefore we should be always on Victor 15. It's just the way DCS sets it up. Sorry, BMS sets it up.
Yeah, I just thought with us being in flight 2.
No, so that's where the syntax falls down, unfortunately. I think for training flights we may need to adjust that ever so slightly. So for ops, there would always be a Ghost 1, or rather a Flight 1, a Flight 2, a Flight 3, a Flight 4, and or a Flight 5. And those flights would always be 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 on the Victor channels, because that's just the way BMS sets them up. Therefore we can always run that syntax, but because we've all just jumped into random training channels, every single person flying this evening will be flying as Ghost 1, we're just flying in our own service, so the syntax breaks down a little bit as a result.
Roger, so we'll be on 78 Yankee.
Roger.
Maybe rename them to training rooms instead.
Yeah, I think in training flight 1, training flight 2, etc. One's good jet ready to taxi. Ghost 1, call when ready to taxi by the numbers. 2.
3 red taxi.
So is that a 2 of acknowledgement? Yes, I am ready.
Definitely ready.
Roger that.
I now almost have my entire start-up sequence on this stream deck.
Nice. I've got all my stuff up on every single button on my stream deck, not that I'm showing off or proud of what I've done.
But is your startup automated?
No, but then there's already an auto start button in BMS, so I could just press that button.
It's not the same thing.
You did a thing, you would use it.
I had fun doing this.
I'm not sure I would call it fun what I did, but fair enough. Guns on ground, Ghost 1 request ground abort for my number 4, please.
Ghost 1, roger. Ghost 1, roger.
Guns on ground, Ghost 1, 3 Foxtrot 16s at North Stands for, correction, at South Stands for a frag departure from runway 36, low altitude.
Good morning, Ghost 1. You are number 1 for departure. Taxi, Alpha, and hold short, runway 36.
Alpha and hold short, runway 36 for Ghost 1. Ghost 1, chocks and pins. Ghost 1, taxi in sequence, hold taxi.
Just taxi.
Please taxi.
Ghost 1, EOR check. 1 is balls 178, 124. Yardstick is sweet, dolly is sweet.
2, same.
3 same.
Roger that. And can everyone confirm they've got their air to ground set up just the way they want and need it?
2.
3.
Roger that. Just looking at the time, I think what we'll do is we'll Rolex plus 3 minutes. So Ghost 1, Rolex positive 3 minutes. Sorry, I've just called that wrong, haven't I? Not positive 3 minutes, negative 3 minutes. We're going early, so 3 minutes off. So if you have already Rolex plus 3, just Rolex negative 6, and that'll fix it.
One, can you just go through the Rolex procedure again? It's on the time button, yeah?
Yep, so go to time. In this particular case, you need to Rolex a negative value. So scroll down to Delta TOS, click the mode select button, which is 0. That will invert the text so that you've got the green background. And then in your case, all you do is type in 300 for 3 minutes, click enter, and you're all good.
Sorted.
Check that just by going into your TOS, and it will show you that you are now taking off at 0127.
Yep, confirmed.
Goods on ground, Ghost 1, request taxi, hold short runway 36 for departure. Ghost 1 is taxi.
Just taxi.
Ghost 1-1, contact tower for takeoff. Switch to 9230.
29230 for Ghost 1. And don't forget, if you haven't already, make sure you've got your lights set to landing as you go over the EOR. As you go over the runway. Gunsan Tower, Ghost 1, request entry to the active position, hold for departure runway 36.
Ghost 1, hold short. Ghost 1, Gunsan Tower, weight 060 at 2 knots, runway 36. You're cleared for takeoff.
Ghost 1, clear for takeoff. Right, 2, you're going to be in echelon left of departure, wind is right to left. 3, if you want to just take the slot in the middle, we'll both give you a little bit of room. Running a little bit late on the clock here, so we might just be a little bit behind Carrot. And 2, just be prepared for a very fast departure in terms of there's not going to be a lot of talking time or thinking time. Formation departure. 2, run them up. Brakes, release.
Ghost 1-1, contact departure.
Ghost 1, contact departure. Gunsan departure, Ghost 1 is airborne as frag.
Visitor 1.
Ghost 1, Kunasan, departure. Depart heading 335. Resume on navigation.
Altitude.
Hold that position all flight 2 and you are absolute gold. Copy. So just a heads up there too, if you didn't already know, the trees aren't crashable in BMS. yet, and I always try and avoid them on the basis of you never know when those tricksy devs are going to try and fool you.
I was just wondering that there, actually.
There's always part of me that thinks if I was one of the devs, I'd just throw one or two in that actually were modelled, and so you can just kill people randomly, but no one will ever know where or why.
Yeah, I kind of like that thinking.
It's cruel and unusual, it fits my MO.
Surprise is a good thing.
So I keep trying to tell the wife.
Altitude. 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 Pull up. Pull up. Altitude. 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 Pull up. Pull up. Altitude. 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 Altitude.
A little bit ahead there too.
Thanks.
Altitude. Altitude.
It's where you are now is perfect.
Roger.
Altitude. 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 Altitude.
make it just a little bit harder to see you.
Come closer. Always just come closer. If you're struggling to see, you've got the TACAN, you've got the HSD. That gets you close enough. The rest of it, I'm afraid, is Mark 1 eyeball, and yeah, it can get a bit tricky.
Altitude.
You wait till we do this at night
Altitude.
in bad weather.
Yeah.
So, sight line wise, you're pretty much golden where you are. A little bit far, but I can see you creeping in, which is fine.
Yeah, I'm just coming.
Altitude. 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 Altitude.
So now you've got a decision. You can flow through the city, you can go above it, or you can wrap around it. Problem is where the steer point is, so I'm going above. Okay.
Altitude. Altitude.
I think in reality they deliberately avoid cities for low-level routes, but I didn't have that luxury of time.
Altitude. 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 Altitude.
So here's a good example. So as a wingman, when we teach this in advanced ground attack,
Altitude.
you'll be taught how to flow with the train and you'll be flying wedge, not spread.
Altitude.
So here's
Altitude.
a classic example. It would be the pilot's choice where to go. You don't have to arbitrarily follow the line and go above the town. If you want to flow around the town like I'm about to do, then that is your prerogative. As long as you know where you need to rejoin into
Altitude.
again, it's your
Altitude.
pilot. It's your aircraft. You're the pilot. You do what you need to do.
Sounds good.
Equally, if we pretend that that city was a ridgeline, and you just thought, you know what, I don't want to be on the other side of that ridgeline with my flight lead. I want to flow to the other side. You don't even need to call switching. You just flip over. As long as you get yourself back in the right position when you're done, that's all that matters. Which is why we teach this basic stuff in, funnily enough, basic crash jet, is to ingrain those core skills so that when we do move to AGAT, we're not sort of constantly telling you slow down, get back into spread, get back into wedge. You know, it's all just natural from that point. Right, Ghost 1, fence in, lights on.
Altitude. Altitude.
3.
Altitude.
Defense
Altitude.
9.1.
Or you got to wait slightly ahead of the gun there,
Altitude.
waiting on 3 phases.
Altitude.
I thought I had.
Altitude. Altitude.
Yeah, 3.
Alright,
Pull up.
1
Pull up.
defense in,
Pull up.
lights on, fuel
Pull up.
8.0.
Pull up. Pull up.
Defense 9.0.
Altitude.
3 fenced
Altitude.
in, 8.9.
Yeah, looking good there too.
I kind of lost you for a wee bit there. There you are.
Yeah, that's part of the fun and games of running it, especially when we run it like this. You will occasionally lose me, after which it's a bit of guesswork with the
Altitude.
TACAN and the HSD and a little
Altitude.
bit of blind luck with Mark 1 eyeball.
Altitude. 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 Altitude.
It's kind of the better you get at it, the more sort of reliable you get to, yeah, it should be there. And then you just have to wait for them to appear on thereabouts.
Altitude.
Yeah,
Pull
and
up.
that's the reason why we do so much training in flight school, because it not only ingrains that into the pilot, but it also means it's ingrained into the flight lead. There's no point running this if your flight lead isn't able to fly a good position. Otherwise you could be doing all the right things, but you'll look foolish because your flight lead's all over the place.
Yeah.
Altitude. 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 Altitude.
Okay, so we'll attack the runways as they present to. So what that means is, regardless of what the frag targets were, if you're on the left side, which you will be, you attack the left side runway and I'll attack the right.
Altitude. 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 Altitude.
Oh no, it turns out we're going to roll out on the right side anyway, doesn't matter.
Sounds good.
Altitude. 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 Altitude.
To accelerate attack speed check, switches hot.
Altitude. 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 Pull up. Pull up. Altitude. 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 Altitude.
One tally target just behind a ridge line, 5 miles ahead, ridge line. We're pretty much on course now to close in. You're going to be slightly right of your target as I see it.
Tap. Flare. Altitude. Altitude. Tap. Flare. Tap. Flare. Tap. Flare. Altitude. Altitude.
One tally in hot.
Tap. Flare.
2 tally in hot.
3 tally in hot.
Tap. Flare. Altitude. Altitude. Tap. Flare.
One's off.
2's
Tap.
off.
Flare.
3's off.
Tap. Flare. Tap. Flare. Altitude. Altitude.
Ghost 1, reform when able.
Altitude. Altitude.
3.
Tap. Flare. Tap. Flare.
Ghost 1, nose cold. Ghost 1, nose cold.
2.
3.
Altitude. 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 Altitude.
So the question is, who are you reformed on?
I'm at Europe. 4 o'clock.
Try again. Look at your TACAD.
Oh shit.
Don't worry. It's
Altitude. 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 Altitude.
just as a visual reference to where you are now.
Altitude.
Would be lovely
Altitude.
for wedge.
Yeah, it looks about right. Maybe a bit closer.
Closer, not so much. A little bit further forward, maybe, but you don't have to be. That's the key bit.
You're in a comfortable position, as I see you, to fly and so I keep a good eye on what I'm doing.
Altitude.
And I knew at the moment.
Altitude.
Yeah, the only problem is that you're in a slightly
Altitude.
uncomfortable position,
Altitude.
but you're within you're right at the back end of the parameters, I would say. So get used to that sight picture just while you're there, because it is a good sight picture to be aware of and to be more familiar with.
Altitude.
And like you
Altitude.
say, it is more comfortable for you, and the idea is that it gives you the room to flow either side of me if you want to, without needing to worry about delay turns and passing above or below me and all that jazz. You just switch your position.
Altitude.
Done.
It's
Altitude.
kind of probably nearer a fighting wing.
Yeah, it almost is. And now watch what happens when we do the delay turn.
Altitude.
So this will be a delay
Altitude.
45.
Altitude. Altitude.
Yeah, nice. So you probably have to use a bit of power, I suspect, to stay in position.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's normal, because you're behind me in the delay turn, therefore you roll out slightly further behind me, so you just have to give it a little bit of extra welly, but you corrected that in the turn, so that was fine.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting the hang of, when you introduce a bit of power and stuff like that, but also jumping to the next
Altitude.
point before I hit
Altitude.
one to see what power settings I'm likely to be going to have to set.
Yeah, exactly. Right then, we're going to come out of the low altitude
Altitude.
sequence, so it's going to bring us up to
Altitude.
1,000 feet, then we're going to change our direction for the tanker, and then change our altitude as well.
Altitude. Altitude.
Great.
Alright, one's about 1,000 above. And Ghost 1 in place, reference 135, go.
2.
3, how copy?
Great.
Ghost 1, gate gate, go. And don't forget to call that 2-3. 2.
3.
And we're going to pull up 55 degrees nose up, climbing to 20,000. 3, 2, 1, go. 2.
3.
And when we roll out, gents, we're going to stay in gate, because I don't know about you, but I got tons of fuel, and if we want to take 2,000 at the tanker, we're going to need to burn a little bit of fuel. I've got you tally, and below you 1,000 feet deep on your 5 o'clock. So that's where you want to do a visual or blind. It's alright to be blind, because you're doing the right thing, you're moving yourself away, but call visual blind so that I know that you've seen me or not.
Yeah, currently blind. Throttle back, you're behind me.
Passing your 4 o'clock, about 1,000 below. Moving up to your 3 o'clock now, passing your 3 now. Don't forget to call visual when you got me.
Bingo. Bingo.
These popping flares. Visual.
It's where you need the TDL box in DCS, right?
Oh yes. When you can hook it onto your flight lead. Makes life very easy.
I do miss that. Right then, Ghost 1, we're just approaching the tanker track now. Form loose echelon left and do pre-fueling checks. And don't forget the 2-3. 2.
3.
And I'm coming off the thrust now to 360, and I'm going to do a course correct onto a heading of about 250-ish once we get onto the tanker track, see where it is. Alright, coming right onto the tanker's course now, referencing about 220 I reckon. Got the tanker locked, she'll be on the HSD. Climbing up to Angels 2-2. Alright, Ghost 1, just a quick fuel check please. One's 4.4.
2, 3.7.
3 is 4.3.
Alright gents, we'll take fuel up to £6,000, but no more than 6.
3 passenger right.
3 is visual too.
just waiting to see which way the tanker is going to turn. It should turn left, in which case we're going to have to kick out right a little bit, but if she turns right, we're in a perfect position.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a left turn should be able to go for.
Yeah, typically, although they do occasionally basically screw you over on that. I'm going to prejudge it. I'm going to bring us out to the right side.
Bingo. Bingo.
Ghost 1, push uniform 13. Shame on my head, didn't push us over to tactical.
Shame in mine as well, then I didn't notice.
Having too much fun flying at low altitude, that's my excuse.
I blame the flight lead.
That's a good idea, I'd do that as well. Right, gents, just going to start the pull-in towards the tanker fairly shortly. Texaco 1, Ghost 1, 3 Foxtrot 16 is looking for about £2,500 a bird.
Ghost 1-1, Texaco 1-1, you are number 1 to refuel. Ghost 1-1, Texaco 1-1, clear to pre-contact position.
Ghost 1-1, clear to pre-contact. Missed it. No. 2-3, clear to strip to the observation position. 2.
3.
Ghost 1-1, approaching free contact, request 2,500.
Ghost 1-1, Texaco 1-1, cleared to contact position.
Ghost 1-1, cleared to contact position.
Ghost 1-1, stabilized.
Ghost 1-1, stabilized.
Contact.
Ghost 1-1, contact, good flow.
$1,000.
Ghost 1-1, 1,000.
$2,000.
Ghost 1-1, disconnect.
Disconnect.
Ghost 1-1, done field.
Ghost 1-2, Texaco 1-1, cleared to pre-contact position. Roger.
Ghost 1-2, clear pre-contact.
Ghost 1-2, Texaco 1-1, cleared to contact position.
Ghost 1-2, clear pre-contact.
Ghost 1-2, stabilized. Contact.
Ghost 1-2, contact, good flow.
Ghost 1-2, Texaco 1-1, heads up, tanker is entering turn. $1,000. $2,000. $3,000.
Ghost 1-2, topped off. And fueling.
Disconnect.
Always fall back and away, and then go behind and below.
Ghost 1-3, Mexico. 1-1.
Yeah,
Clear
kind
to
of went that
pre-contact
early
position.
to clear the tanker.
Roger.
Yeah, always just move back and away.
Pick up that position, Ghost 1-2.
The number 3 is not going to cut you up. He's going to wait till you're out of the way as well. So all you've got to do is just fall away from the tanker slowly and gracefully. And then once you see you've got
Ghost 1-3,
space to
Mexico.
pass,
1-1.
you
Clear
pass
to contact
below
position.
and
Clear
to
contact
the
position,
other, and to the right eventually. So you got all directions of movement basically are clear.
Ghost 1-3, stabilized.
Yeah, should have left the radio call till later.
So obviously feel free to loosen off and get your post-fueling checks
Ghost
done. So
1-3,
like your fuel door and your DD and all the rest of it. Save doing that while you're in formation. It's better to do it now while you can go off loose.
Contact.
Contact, good flow, Ghost 1-3.
$1,000. $2,000.
I was gonna go for Ghost 1-3.
3,000.
Ghost 1-3, disconnect.
Disconnect.
Just hold the tanker for a minute there. Viscous, wait till your information. Just going to slowly move us away from the guy.
Great.
Alright, you can lose him when you want to, Viscous.
Roger.
I'm just going to climb us up and away from this guy. Tesco 1-1, Ghost 1-1, thanks for the fuel. We are departing above you, heading southwest. Ghost 1, post-fueling checks. 2.
Great.
And Ghost 1, reference steer point 12. 2.
3.
And accelerating up to 360 knots. Ghost 1, push uniform 6. Tesco 1, Ghost 1 departing at frequency. Ghost 1, check in on uniform 6.
Ghost 1-2.
Ghost 1-3.
Might as well do it once this flight anyway. My bad. Alright, let's do a little bit of mathematics then, a bit of fun and games. So, the entry altitude for the Sepia 2 recovery that we're going to fly is going to be 5,000 feet. So who can tell me how far away we're going to be from the entry point, which is, let's just say for argument's sake, it's steer point 12. So if steer point 12 is the entry point for Sepia 2, at what point do we start our descent to do a 3-degree glide slope down to 5,000 feet?
Give or take 60 miles.
Nothing?
60 miles.
Alright, so we've got one for 60 miles. So, the answer is 51 miles. You're not far off. What you've not done is carry the 5, I think, there, Abel. So the rule of thumb is if you need to level out insert altitude here, let's say 5,000 in our case, you take your current altitude, take away the altitude you need to be at, so 22 minus 5 is 17,000, take away the 1,000, so it just leaves 17, multiply that figure by 3, so 17 multiplied by 3 is 51, so 50 miles roundabouts is how far away we would be to start our descent. So on that basis, we'd best start our descent.
Great.
But it's a good rule of thumb indicator if you're coming back and you're not going to run a TRP, and even if you're going to run a TRP, just, you know, whatever altitude you're at, less 12,000, you know, it always works, but yeah, that gives you a rough 3-degree glide slope. But as we're a bit late, we're going to have to do a little bit more.
I think I remember you telling us that one before, that like all maths, if I don't do it constantly, then I forget it.
Absolutely. As they say, practice makes perfect. So,
heard that before.
Yeah. Alright gents, I'm just going to offset us from the steer point just so that we're not going to do a really nasty turn in towards Sepia. So just to let you guys get referenced into roughly where we are, Gunsan is over our right wing. Don't look because you know, it's deep on our right wing. What we're doing is looking for the Sepia 3 recovery. Now Sepia 1 is actually the city probably just over your Amram wingtip. We're looking for the city that is roughly bearing 283, 280 kind of direction. So we're going to spin ourselves round towards that, and we're looking for a long road that enters that city. That tells us we're in roughly the right place. So just going to get us gently moving in that direction. Don't worry, when you do your plug, one of the sessions you do is to go up and essentially lead a flight through each of these different visual routes. So don't worry if they're not making any sense. I do my best to describe them to everyone while we're flying, but it only really becomes important when you start flight leading, obviously.
Altitude. Altitude.
Sentry 1, Ghost 1 is checking out for Gunsan. Ghost 1, when able, push uniform 4. So the entry point for the inbound flights is between 5,000 and 3,000 feet, but generally speaking you want to be at 5,000 pretty much. The reason for that is because it puts you on a decent glide slope when you hit the entry point for the IFR route, so you can stay in roughly a 5-degree nose down. And maintain no more than 30 degrees of bank, and it puts you pretty much bang where you need to be. Right, so as you can see, we've cut the corner on the on the route here, and you can see just in front of us, we're starting to move towards a city that's got a long road coming out of it, running south to north. This first city that we're looking at is not the Sepia 2 entry point, but is a good visual reference point to look for, because that road is actually what we're aiming for. That road that goes into the next city along, which is the Sepia 1, the Sepia 2 entry point, and you can just about see walls resolving over to the left at about 345 degrees, so that's the Sepia 3, if I remember correctly, approach. Puan, which is a city on the east side of the bay, is actually the Sepia 1 entry point, but you can't really see that very easily from here, but we'll fly that another day. Gunsan approach, Ghost 1 is 3 Vipers inbound to land from Sepia 2, overhead brake pan left. We are 22 miles to your south at Angels 6 heading north.
Ghost 1, Gunasan approach. You're outside my airspace. Contact me at 30 miles.
Yeah, that figures. I had the wrong waypoint set for them, so I thought we were at 24 miles, but in reality we were much further than that. Never mind. So it might be a bit hard for you guys to see, because it might be masked on the left side wall of the HUD, but you can now start to see Ireland resolving in the middle of the bay, which is the aim point that we're going to be going for once we hit Sepia 2, which is the town not immediately below us, but just on our sort of 5-degree nose down line as the road hits that town. That is Sepia 2, or at least that's the entry point for Sepia 2.
Yeah, I'm starting to see anyone's going to be in there.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it while you're flying formation, but you can just start to see Gunsan resolving on the left-hand side of the north side of the bay.
And just a big breakwater just off to the left as well.
Yeah, so that breakwater is wall. So that's the Sepia 3 entry point where the wall hits the land. That is wall. That is the entry point for Sepia 3. So we've flown that one several times when we come in from the mowers. Oh, there you go. If you look just on your 1 o'clock, there's a little, ahead of the city that we're aiming for, there's a little pond bay kind of thing, and there's a city just to the right of it, surrounded by what looks like 3 ponds. That's Puan. That is the Sepia 1 entry point. So if you were coming in from east to west, you'd enter at that point, drive towards the island and hang a 90 right at the island.
You really should put big signs up for us so to help remember this.
There's a pack that you get when you do Plug that shows you the all the visual reference points.
It'd be helpful if we put big signs on the ground as well.
Well, believe it or not, there actually is one. So Daewoo, which is the exit, one of the exit points, is marked with a big sign on the map. Believe it or not. Gunsan approach, Ghost 1, 3 fighters, overhead, Sepia 2, inbound to land, overhead brake, pattern left.
Good morning, Ghost 1-1, Gunsan approach. You are cleared all the way in for overhead approach, runway 36. You engage 1018.
1018 QNH for Ghost 1.
Ghost 1-1, contact tower for landing. Switch to 9230.
29230 for Ghost 1. Gunsan Tower, Ghost 1, inbound to land, island, overhead approach, we'll call initial. Sorry about the speed there, gents, my bad. Gunsan Tower, Ghost 1, initial.
Ghost 1, Gunsan Tower, weight 060 at 2 knots, runway 36, clear for landing, jet gear down.
No, because I pressed the wrong button, the tower's going to shut us a lot now, but just ignore it, we'll just do the brake to land as usual. Ghost 1-1, brake, land. 2
Ghost 1-3, brake lands.
Ghost 1-1, go around, vector 050, contact approach for resequencing.
Gunsan Tower, Ghost 1, finals, gear down.
Ghost 1-2, finals, gear down.
Plus 1-3, final skidder.
Ghost 1-1. Gonna sound tower. Next time, get a clearance before landing.
One's cold side right.
Two's cool side right.
Three's cold side right.
Ghost 1-1.
One clear of the active at Echo.
273-525.
273-525 for Ghost 1.
Two's clear active.
Three's activated.
Ghost 1, push uniform 2. So just doing the walk of shame to see who's got what lights on. So we have 3 with no taxi lights on or landing lights, and we've got 2 with his landing lights on but no taxi lights. Not bad. Perfect average between us all. Perfectly averaged. So don't forget, once you've crossed the threshold coming back the other way into this area, your taxi lights come on as soon as possible. Right then, gentlemen, we will shut down here rather than going to the north of taxiing all the way back. So chock some pins, everyone, and then you are clear to shut down and exit the city.
3.